everybody, good morning. My name is Heidi and let's get started with our morning yoga. If you haven't tuned in before, I am an occupational therapist and I'm a yoga instructor and just super passionate about yoga. I tend to do a more gentle practice, so feel free to comment or share the video and let's get started. We're going to start on our back this morning. Starting with our knees bent and our feet on the mat. Taking a few deep breaths here. Placing one hand on the low belly, one hand on the chest. Breathing into that low belly. Thank yourself for waking up this morning to do your yoga, or maybe this is a break for you in the day. But thank yourself for taking some time to do your yoga practice. And then bringing the arms by the sides, moving into bridge pose. Inhaling, lifting the hips. Exhaling, bringing the hips back down gently on the mat. And we'll follow the breath here. Inhaling, lifting the hips. Exhaling the hips back down to the mat. Think about keeping the knees squeezing together. If it's helpful, you can take a block, place it between the knees, and just gently hold it as you lift the legs. We'll do this a few more times. And then we'll add the arms. So on the inhale here, we're going to lift the arms overhead. Exhaling, bringing those arms back down by our sides. Okay, and then from here, we're going to move into a little bit of a resting bridge. So you can take a block or a towel, and we're going to lift into a bridge, place the block under the hips, so under the pelvic bone basically, the tailbone. Find a comfortable place for the body to rest on. Basically, you don't want to feel like you're doing any effort. You want to feel completely supported by the block. Maybe taking the feet a little wider apart, letting the legs fall together. Taking a few moments here to, again, breathe into the body. Notice any points of tension. Breathing into any points of tension. Letting go. Lifting, removing that block. Just gonna check something here, okay? So from here, we're gonna come into all fours. Shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. And then breathing into a cat-cow. So on the inhale, letting the belly fill, tailbone lift, chest lift, head follows. On the exhale, rounding the back like a scared cat, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin to the chest. Micro bend in the elbows. And then following the natural breath here. So on the inhale, cow. Exhale, cat, and we'll follow our breath here for a few rounds. One more here. And then finding our neutral spine. So from here, we're going to straighten our right leg out behind us. And for me, I'm just going to stay here. But if you want a little bit more of a challenge, feel free to lift that heel into the air and possibly bring the left arm up to balance for our spinal balance. But I'm just going to stay here for today. Again, drawing the abdominals in, feel like you're zipping the core in like a zipper. And then coming back to center, straightening the left. Again, we can lift the heel here, lift the right arm if we would like. Think about having the hips level, like you're balancing a china teapot. And again, coming into our all fours, sitting back into child's pose. You can have those knees close together for a greater stretch in the back, or knees wider for a greater stretch in the shoulders. And coming down to rest in our child's pose for a few breaths. Okay, I'm going to go into some low lunges next. If you would like to have your blocks handy, feel free, one on each side. I'm using my cork blocks here because they're a little firmer for stability. So I'm going to step forward with my right leg. And if you want an extra cushion under your knee, towel, or I found these cool knee mats at Marshall's one time for like $5 or $6. So these are really nice for the joints, the knees and wrists. So from here, you can also get these like very similarly at the dollar store. They're the gardening mats, which is cool. So here's my low lunge. That front knee is over the front ankle. And then this stretch is really about the front of the left leg, our hip flexor. So very important if we are sitting a lot, our hip flexors get very, very tight. And so we think about our base and our lunge. We have two bases. One is our front foot, the bottom of the foot, and the other is our knee all the way to our shin and the top of our foot. So use that top of the foot to press down in the mat. It'll take pressure off of the knee and then also enhance the posture, the muscles that are being used. So let's take this tall for a moment. We can always stay here, that's fine. But let's take it nice and tall. Again, zipping in the core. And any stretch forward, we want it to come from the hip. We don't want it to come from the low back. It's too easy to load into that low back. So we really want that stretch to come from the hip, and I can really feel it this morning. So if we want to add a little bit more of a balancing aspect, we can take our hands up to maybe cactus arms, or hands at heart center, or maybe all the way up, just beautiful posture. And then bringing our hands down to our mat or our blocks, coming back to sit on our heel, letting the right toes point toward the ceiling, and then this is going to be a pretty decent stretch in the back of the leg, the back of the front leg, that hamstring. If this is challenging, we can always keep it high, or we can sit on a pillow or a towel roll or a bolster. that pose back up, switching sides. Each side might feel a little bit differently, and that's okay. I have more balance on this side for whatever reason. What I love about yoga is that discovery that comes into play when I find my way into each pose. So it feels different each time, but I kind of know what to expect. Like I knew this side would be a little bit easier, and I like the feeling in my right hip stretch more than my left, so I was looking forward to that. But then I love the discovery of figuring out how to use my balance each time. So the front knee stacked over the ankle, top of the foot pressing into the mat. Anchoring with the hands at the hips to start off with. And then maybe taking those arms into cactus arms for more of a chest opener. Maybe bringing them all the way up for a challenge on the balance. If we have our arms all the way up, really be conscious to drop those shoulders down. That's why I don't spend a lot of time with my arms up overhead, because I already hold so much tension in my shoulders. It's easy to let them creep up when you have your arms lifted overhead. Still directing the breath to the low belly. And then from here, we're gonna go ahead and sit back on that heel, if that's comfortable. And again, letting those left toes point toward the ceiling. It's a nice good morning stretch from the back of the leg there. Okay, feel free to hold that. It looks like we might have a comment. Okay, hi Justin. Thanks for watching. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna go into thread the needle, coming back to all fours. Taking the right arm, we're gonna weave it under our left arm and bring our shoulder all the way down to the mat and rest the head on the mat. And gently coming back to center, pressing through that left hand. Coming back to all fours, taking the left arm, weaving it under the right, bringing our shoulder and head all the way down to the mat. This is one of the few poses in yoga that really stretches the muscle under the scapula, the subscapularis. And you can kind of use your standing hand, your right hand, as kind of a pod to kind of direct where you want that stretch to go with your shoulders, which is really cool. Nice deep breath. And pressing up. We're going to come into a seated position now. Bringing our feet out in front of us. I'll come this direction for our staff pose. If sitting on the floor is really difficult, just like straight on the floor, it doesn't feel good. You can sit on a bolster, you can sit on a rolled towel, or you can sit on a block actually. So if we lift the hips up, or we can sit on another rolled mat, that works really well. So it gets your hips up. A lot of times it can be really hard because we're really used to a posterior pelvic tilt. Our pelvis is just tilted, so it brings us like that. So it's really hard to sit up nice and tall in a more neutral or anterior pelvic tilt. And then also if we have tight hamstrings, that can make it really difficult too. So sit on a firm but comfortable surface if it is difficult to sit just on the floor naturally. And then think about working toward sitting on the floor. So we're sitting here, mechanically move that tissue out of the way so you really feel the sit bones rocking back and forth. I just realized it is raining. It's raining in Tucson, Arizona. How exciting. We have not had rain for a long time. So in our staff pose, okay, take it back. It's like sprinkling, but still, water from the sky. Coming forward with a flat back. And then letting the back round forward. And walking the hands back up, sitting tall. We're going to work through that one more time. So sitting nice and tall, it's okay if the knees are bent a little bit. Walking the body forward with a flat back. Drawing that breath deeply down, and then from here, letting the body fold forward over the legs. And walking the body back up. Okay, go ahead and come into a crisscross seated position. And I'm going to put my right leg in front. Again, make sure we can feel those sit bones. So from here, just sitting nice and tall, we're going to take a little twist. So we're going to twist to the right. Inhaling, sitting tall. So your left, actually. You're going to twist to the left. So your left leg should be in front. Inhaling, and then exhaling, twisting to the left. Letting the twist really come from the core. The hands are just there as resting points, not as torque points. So the hands are just resting, and then that head just follows. Again, staying nice and relaxed. With each inhale, sitting taller. With each exhale, twisting a little bit further from the core. And then letting this all go, coming back to center, switching the order of the legs. So the right leg will be in front now. Sitting tall. And exhaling, twisting to the right. Again, you may find you're able to twist more on one side than the other, and that's okay. And from here, returning back to center. And now switching your legs to whichever feels more comfortable, which leg is in front. From here, we're going to walk the body forward. And then let the head relax down. And then from here, we're walking the hands over to the right side. and bend to the left. Bringing the hands back to the center. And walking the body back up to a seated position. Okay. I am actually going to offer a kind of longer seated meditation this morning. So let's start with a alternate nasal breath. So this is really, really calming, really organizing. You might need to blow your nose if you're kind of stuffy. I think I'm pretty good. So the way it works is there are fancy finger positions, but bottom line, 2 index fingers. Let's start there. Okay, so you hold off your left nostril, breathe through the right. Close off your right nostril, breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left. Close off the left, breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right. Close off the right, breathe out through the left. Keep this going. Again, use the full breath. And you're going to breathe in through the nostril you just breathed out from. And it's okay if you have to breathe out through your mouth and just restart. It's okay. Start to focus the attention inward. Maybe closing the eyes. Becoming an observer of how the body is thinking and feeling. Keeping the attention on the breath. We'll go for 5 more rounds. I'm just holding off with the ring and thumb instead of my index fingers. I'm actually going to go 6 more so I can be even. Oh my gosh, so alerting, so focusing, so calming. You can do this anytime throughout the day. Just get yourself focused, get into your alternate nasal breathing. It's very powerful. So to end, I'm just going to place the hands on my knees, thumb to my ring finger, that knuckle, the bottom knuckle. I'm going to close the eyes. And spending the final moments of our practice here focusing on our natural breath, letting any thoughts that come into the mind float by like clouds passing, returning the focus to the breath. Scanning the body for any points of tension and sending the breath there. Relaxing the jaw. Relaxing the shoulders. Letting the eyes open, the hands relax. Inhaling the arms overhead. Exhaling the hands to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. Which is the person in me or the soul in me recognizes the person in you. So thank you for checking out the live morning yoga on the Embody OT page. Or if you found it on a shared page, that's great too. See you back later. And go and like Embody Occupational Therapy on Facebook. Thanks, or follow us. Bye for now.